Alexey Buevich, deputy head of the Federal Air Transport Agency, known as Rosaviatsiya, has put forward a forward-thinking proposal that could significantly change Russia's approach to international aviation. He suggests creating an international transit hub in an African nation to increase passenger traffic between Russia and the African continent. This idea emerges at a time when Russia faces growing constraints on its long-haul aviation capabilities, shifting global travel trends, and a rapidly expanding African market. Buevich emphasized both the potential and the urgency of the proposal. He underlined the need to consider building a major air hub in Africa to coordinate international passenger flows and transit transportation under a large Russian carrier or a coalition of Russian carriers. In addition to reducing logistical challenges, this hub would expand the possibilities for transcontinental travel. Russia's air transportation system has been seriously disrupted in recent years, especially on long-haul routes. The shortage of wide-body airliners remains a major issue, even though Russian-built aircraft such as the SJ-100, the MC-21, and the Tu-214 can sustain domestic and regional operations. Wide-body aircraft, such as the Airbus A330, the Boeing 777, and the Boeing 767, form the backbone of long-distance flights. These aircraft typically carry between 250 and 400 passengers and have ranges greater than 11,000 kilometers. Russia's most important long-haul domestic routes, including Moscow to Vladivostok at approximately 6,400 kilometers, Moscow to Petropavlovsk-Kamchatsky at around 6,800 kilometers, and Moscow to Anadyrh at around 6,000 kilometers, all rely on these wide-body jets. Due to United States and European Union sanctions that restrict delivery of new aircraft and spare parts, Russia's wide-body fleet will shrink without replacement. Buevich warns that Russia may experience a sharp decline in intercontinental travel in the next 10 years, and some long internal routes critical for national connectivity may even be cut. Africa has become increasingly important for Russian travelers in this situation. Trips to destinations such as Mauritius, Kenya, Tanzania, Zanzibar, and the Seychelles have grown sharply. Currently, most Russian air travel to Africa is concentrated in Egypt, where demand is strong in Cairo, Hurghada, and Sharm el-Sheikh. These North African airports are accessible using Russia's popular medium-haul aircraft. This includes the Airbus A321 with a range of up to 5,950 kilometers, and the A321neo with a range of about 7,400 kilometers. The Boeing 737-800, which has a range of roughly 5,400 kilometers, can also easily reach major Russian cities. Once passengers reach the hub, even the SJ-100, which has a range of about 3,000 kilometers, can operate shorter African routes. Egypt is a prime candidate for hub development because routes such as Moscow to Hurghada at approximately 3,100 kilometers, Moscow to Sharm el-Sheikh at roughly 3,060 kilometers, and Moscow to Cairo at about 2,900 kilometers fall comfortably within these ranges. The goal of establishing an African transit gateway is to maximize Russia's existing aircraft fleet while compensating for the shortage of wide-body jets. Using Egypt or Ethiopia as the central hub, Russian airlines could consolidate passengers from various regions onto medium-haul flights. These flights would then connect to Russian partner carriers or African airlines for further travel across the continent. Although designed to suit Russia's constraints, this strategy mirrors successful models seen in Istanbul, Doha, and Dubai. Egypt and Ethiopia emerge as the strongest candidates. Egypt already has developed aviation infrastructure and handles large volumes of Russian tourism. Hurghada and Sharm el-Sheikh are major resort airports with the ability to manage significant charter traffic. Cairo offers the advantages of a major intercontinental airport connected to northern, western, and central Africa. Addis Ababa, the capital of Ethiopia, offers a different type of strategic opportunity. Ethiopian Airlines, the largest airline in Africa, makes the city one of the continent's most connected aviation hubs. Addis Ababa is approximately 5,300 kilometers from Moscow, a distance within the operational range of the Airbus A321neo and Boeing 737 MAX class aircraft. This makes direct Russia to Ethiopia flights possible. From Addis Ababa, passengers could easily continue to Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda, South Africa, and many other destinations through Ethiopian Airlines' extensive network. Sanctions make the strategy especially urgent. Without a new solution, Russia risks losing connections not only to distant markets such as Southeast Asia and Latin America, but also within its own borders, as long-haul fleet shortages worsen. Medium-haul Russian aircraft may eventually meet domestic and regional needs, but long-haul aviation will remain restricted for years. An African hub reachable using medium-haul aircraft allows Russia to maintain global access without relying on wide-body aircraft that it cannot easily purchase or service. In 2024, Oleg Evdokimov, CEO of ATEO Air and an aviation expert, introduced the theoretical basis for this strategy through the concept of virtual interfacing. This system allows airlines to digitally link schedules without signing formal code-share agreements. Airlines retain independence while passengers receive smooth connections, even across separate carriers. Evdokimov explained that this method could integrate aircraft that often remain inactive due to network restrictions, such as the Airbus A320 and A321neo and the SSJ-100. He identified Sochi and Irkutsk as Russian hubs capable of supporting such a network, connecting Russia with Africa, the Middle East, and Southeast Asia, using the capacities of partner airlines. This logic is reflected in the Rosaviatsiya plan, which suggests that the African hub may serve as a practical example of virtual linking. When asked about Buevich's proposal, Evdokimov stated that the plan was timely and reasonable. He noted that the African continent clearly needs more direct connections to Russian regions. Earlier in 2024, he negotiated charter routes between Hurghada and Zanzibar with Red Sea Airlines and Al Masriya Universal Airlines. He believes Egyptian carriers could play a key role in developing the new hub. Hurghada, Sharm el-Sheikh, and Cairo together receive more than 100 weekly flights from Moscow and Russian regional airports. Egyptian airlines, particularly Al Masriya, have idle A320neo and A321neo aircraft that could support the hub, potentially in cooperation with companies such as Melon Aero, which Evdokimov represents. According to Evdokimov, an African hub offers multiple strategic advantages. It allows efficient consolidation of passenger flows from across Russia, providing quick and convenient connections. It opens new markets for medium-haul and eventually long-haul flights to destinations such as Ethiopia, Kenya, the Seychelles, Mauritius, and Zanzibar. Most importantly, it provides a way to utilize underused or idle aircraft, which is increasingly important as sanctions affect fleet availability. The creation of such a hub demonstrates that Russia can develop a global transit model independent of traditional Western aviation structures. Evdokimov believes the initiative can be strengthened in the future. He emphasizes that technological tools, available aircraft capacity, and cooperation with African partners will be crucial for building a gradually expanding network. Russia's long-haul routes remain limited, with only recent reconnections to Cuba and Venezuela, and no restored flights to South America. Under these constraints, an African hub could give Russia the platform it needs to expand international operations over the next decade, test virtual interlining systems, distribute passenger flows more effectively, and strengthen partnerships with African carriers. When asked which location is best suited to begin this project, Evdokimov recommends Hurghada and Sharm el-Sheikh. Both destinations are easily reachable from Moscow, St. Petersburg, and Kazan using Airbus A320 aircraft and Boeing 737 aircraft. Egyptian airports such as Hurghada and Sharm el-Sheikh are ideal for hosting a new transit hub. In conclusion, Russia's plan to create a transit hub in Africa is a practical and forward-looking response to the structural challenges facing the nation's aviation industry. The goal is to maintain global connectivity, strengthen ties with African nations, use medium-haul aircraft effectively, and build a new aviation model that does not rely on wide-body jets. At a time when Russia's long-haul aviation future remains uncertain, the African hub concept provides both a workable solution and a strategic opportunity to reshape the country's aviation landscape for years to come. If you think the video was informative, please like, subscribe, and share. Please also take membership of the channel to encourage us.